Hello, welcome to Comfy Cozy Up. So today I'm going to be doing my March wrap up. So now we're in April, yes, and it's much brighter, the days are longer, all that good stuff. Still wish it was warm. 20 something degrees at night is not my thing. But anyway, we're going to hope we get warmer in April. So I'm going to start off by saying I've read 10 books. 10 books. That's a first in probably a year. I haven't read that much books in a while, and especially books that I really enjoy. Majority of the books were good reads for me, were pretty much had me smiling, had me thinking about, very definitely memorable. So I had a good month, and I love it too. No social life this month because the weather's still not nice, so I was home a lot. So with that said, I'm going to start off with the books. Most of the books I did a reading vlog for. So I'm not going to talk much about it because I already did a full review. If you watch any of my reading vlog, at the end of the vlog I typically review one book that I've read. So I will talk briefly about these books that I already did a full review of, and I will link the review in the description bar so you can check it out there. So the first one we're going to talk about is An Orchestra of Minority, and this book I really enjoy. This is a bit of a magical realism where we have a host and his, what you call his spiritual guider is telling the story of how decisions that he has made and what the consequence for some of the decision and how his life turned out. So you are in this man's head and you're learning how he felt about this particular woman that he sacrificed a lot for, and how it turned out. And it's such an interesting book. It's very detailed, so if you're not a person that enjoy books that have a lot of detail, because everything has a story behind it, everything he's putting on this journey of why that person, the main character, feel a certain way. And so there's folk tales, there's family issues that is brought up when he's explaining things, and so you learn a lot, and it's sucking you in. It's a very dense read, so it did take me a while, but I liked it a lot. I really enjoyed this story, even with some of the things that I had to scratch my head where I wanted to shake the main character, but to me, I was really, really pleasantly surprised how much I enjoyed this one. The next books that I've read were part of a series, and it's called Ethics. Now, I initially was going to only read part 2 because I read part 1 back in February. I ended up reading part 2, 3, and 4 within a 3-day span because I could not put the series down. This is such a great urban fiction that literally had me smiling. I love when the author writes a male character that just, something about him oozes sex appeal, oozes that strong man that's going to take charge and protect his family no matter what. And this is what the main character in this story is. Ethics was a guy that came from the streets. He's built wealth off it and left it. Now he's living in the suburbs with his children, 2 of which biologically his, one that he inherited after her parents had passed away. And she's at that typical teenage age where she want to do what she wants to do. She explores. She's not realizing the consequences of some of her action. And one of the consequences led him back into doing things that he thought he left behind, and also led to a series of unfortunate events. And he is now wrapped up into the life of this woman who he kept secrets from, and how she's going to be able to forgive him for some of the things that one of the major things that happened. But their love story is so good, where you're rooting for them. And you get why each of them feel a certain way. You get why she's struggling to let him in. But you're sucked into the story where you're just like, oh. I found myself smiling all the time when I was reading this book. I had the biggest smile, oh, this is so good. I love it. Fortunately, the last book in the season, book 5, is not out yet. I'm mad because, when you invest in a series, you want to finish it. but there's no date for the series, and I'm still stalking the woman's social media, and there's nothing of it. So I'm hoping it comes out soon, because I really want to get to the ending, because the ending is so dramatic in the 4th book that I really want to know what happened. So the next book I want to talk about is Tempest. Now, this is the 3rd book in the Beverly Jenkins series, Old West series, and we are following one of the nieces from the first one, which is from Edie's, in the first book, which is Forbidden. And she is a mail order bride, and she's in this town where very traditional, the woman's role are so, reflective on a man, and what is expected of a woman is so weird at times, where I was sucked in, because she definitely did a lot of history with this book, because you learn what was expected of a woman, what a woman is able to do, what she cannot do. And it was like you can imagine certain things. I love the horses, the horse ride, and I love how she is a take charge person, and how her husband didn't know how to really deal with it because he's not used to that. But their love story, how it blossomed. I talked about this again in a video where I talk more about it, so you can check it out. But I would say definitely read the series, but you should read the first one, which is Forbidden. The second one is Breathless, because you get to see her and how she's grown, and also her family dynamic, and how, why somewhat she chose to go through this route of being a mail order bride. But yeah, definitely check it out. So the next book I want to talk about is another book that I enjoyed a lot, and this is Daisy Jones and the Six. And Taylor Jenkins Reid, I read last year The Seven Husband of Evelyn Hugo. Yeah. So anyway, this is a similar writing style, because she did this in a way where it's autobiography format. So you kind of have this, like, I would say, realistic approach to the characters. They just felt it felt like you wanted to go online and Google to see if this band really existed. So this is a story about this is Daisy Jones, like this woman's supposed to represent her, and a band where it's the Six, and how they got together, and how they created this amazing album, and then how they disappeared. So its story is told through all the members of the band perspective, as well as certain individuals in their life. And it's done in so many detail where you feel like it's the longest interview ever, but you're interested in their story, and you're sucked in all of their tales of what happened, and how they created this beautiful and amazing album that is like true to life in terms of how they felt about each other, and how they felt about situations when they were writing this album. I really love the writing style of this. I think if some people might have struggled at first because of how it is, but it's done in a real authentic way, where you're fooled and believe that, like, did she really, is this really fiction? That kind of deal. I think there's this talk that maybe it's based on this certain band, and the band that they claim it may be based on, I don't see it, because the kind of music and the lyrics that they wrote, I can't see that band doing that. And I was like, no, it's another band. Don't tell me that's the band they're trying to say. If you read the book, you know what band they hinted at. I don't see that. But anyway, I love it. I do think she is a very good author. I really want to fall back a little and read some of her older ones, because I really love her writing style, and I think she does a really good job. Did do a full review on my blog. I will link that. So then I decided to get into little mystery, crime mystery. I love my Morgan Dayne series. So the 5th book came out, which is Secrets Never Die. And again, I was sucked in, because this is a series that every book is a new case. So the same characters, but there's a different case they have to solve. You know, and it's always a murder case. So in this particular case, we have a teenage boy who's witnessing the death of his stepfather, and he had to escape, and he also is on the run because of who did the killing. He can't really go and get help. So in this, you're finding out all these things because, of course, because he's on the run, he's now a suspect, and Dayne is having to prove that that's not the case because of they were aware of the kid prior, and they don't think that's his characteristic to really be a killer. But of course, everybody's out to get him. Police are out there. Everybody wants him because now he believes that he's a killer. But I love how they solved the case. It was another one where it's like, yes. It didn't give me the suspense as the second, I'm sorry, not the second, the third one gave me, where I just I had no clue. This one I had a sort of idea throughout. When I got to halfway, I'm like, I definitely felt who the killer was. I was able to figure it out a little earlier than the third one, where it was like the very end. So, but again, I'm looking forward to the last book in the series. She has book 6, which is supposed to come out later on this year. Definitely going to finish out the series. I am addicted to this series. I wish more people would read it, but it is what it is. So then after I finished that, I wanted a dark romance. So I picked up The Kiss Thief, and this is by L.J. Shen. And last book I read from her maybe a year ago, but I love her stories. And this one is a bit of a fairy tale with a little dark romance. So we have a young girl. She is the daughter of this Italian mobster, and he's like secretive. She doesn't really know what he does and how his criminal background is. But then we have this guy, he's like the senator, and he is just out to get the father. But in order to do that, he decided to get the woman, which is the daughter, and in turn blackmail, and was able to marry her. But it's kind of like a back way how they fall in love with each other, and the things that happen in the story, where I'm like, oh my God, it's so wrong. But you can't help but read it because it's juicy. So that's how I felt about this one, which is why it's dark romance. Dark romance is that kind of genre of romance where it's a lot of things that's just so wrong about what happened, but it's kind of juicy and entertaining. So this is how I felt about this book. So yeah, we're gonna move on, right? So then all was well, and then we got Queenie. Now, if you watch my full review, and I do recommend watch my full review because I'm not really gonna go into this. This is one of those books that I will never forget. And it's not all for good reasons. This had it had some good things about it. And then there's some problematic things that I wasn't on board for. I think this is a book that's going to be mixed. There's going to be people that's going to enjoy it because they enjoy the mess, the trash. And there's gonna be people that just like I just wasn't entertained by it. It was a complicated story with a young girl where she's 25 in her career, so she's a teenager, and there's mental illness going on in here and scars from her childhood and things that she's basically having to dealt with in a way where she's abusing her own self. You know, she have a bit of a self-hate going on here as well. And so it's like take what you want from this book, but I wasn't the audience for this book. I wasn't the person that will find this book really. It's just no. It's like I said, I do have a few things about that I enjoyed, but for the most part, a lot of stuff I wasn't. Watch my review, guys. I don't want to go through this again. Just watch the review. So then the last book that I finished was Bluebird, which I also did a review. And this was the March Mystery Madness read along with Freeform Lady. I always have to pause when I say her name. But I enjoyed it. If you're in the group, you can go check out the comments of how we feel about some of the characters. But this is a story of a black Texas Ranger, and he is trying to solve a true murder in a small town in Texas. And there's a lot of family drama that's in the story, a lot of cover up from the sheriff department, all that stuff that you expect from a small town who's trying to hide what really happened to the two victims. So it's definitely a good one. It's one of those ones that I feel like you're gonna fly through the book. Like, I literally had to pace myself, because this is the kind of book and a writing style that you can literally just sit down in 2 sittings and finish the book. That's how fast paced it was to me. But I had to slow down because of the read along. But I will definitely pick up the second book in the series, because especially how this book ended, I'm like, yeah, I need a second book, which will be out, I believe, the 17th of September. So yeah, she got me with this one. I was definitely I love this kind of story, twist and turn, and how family can get mixed up into crime thrillers. I love that part of crime thriller story. And I think that's why I like Morgan Dayne as well, because there's a lot of family drama that gets sucked into their story as well. So yeah, anyway, pick it up, guys. Read it before the second one comes out. And that's what I left at. I literally have 3 days left in the month, and I did pick up the new Marlon James. Not that far in, the book is broken up into 5 parts, and I'm in the second part. So so far that book, it is a challenge. I'm definitely not going to be rushing that book. I'm taking my time with that book because it's not the most easiest read, because there's a lot of characters, there's a lot of things going on, there's a different kind of word building and scenery, and who's in who's what. And the main character, Tracker, he's a very much complicated person, and he's dealing with a lot of things that is affecting how he's doing what he's supposed to do with his gift. So that is it, guys. And yeah, thanks for watching, and please continue supporting the channel with likes and comments and all that good stuff, and have a good day.